coin toss. Gu Yuting wins the coin toss. Looks like she chose to receive. Wang Manyu chooses to stay on the side of the table she was standing on. Wang Manyu only 18 years old, so still has some time to continue growing within the program. There's several young players from the Chinese national team on both the men's and women's side of the game, but only a few that you really get to know on the international circuit. Of course, Fan Zhendong, 20 years old on the men's side. Zhu Yuling, the most well-known of the young players from the Chinese women's team. Let's see how fast the racket speed is for Gu Yuting. Both Richard Prowse and myself were very impressed with Gu Yuting's stroke. Again, we see some players, even Chen Meng, who might be more effective head-to-head against Gu Yuting, with slightly shorter strokes, still very aggressive, the game becoming bigger strokes. And at the time of registration, it looked like Wang Manyu was 17 years old. Her world ranking was 56. And a Youth Olympic champion from 2010, Gu Yuting, much like Fan Zhendong. Tell you a little bit about how these players got here, their road to being in the semifinals. So Gu Yuting in the first round beating Mu Hirano 4-1, in the next round beating Du Hoi Kem 4-0. Feng Tianwei in the last round. Wang Manyu on her path took down Kasumi Ishikawa of Japan in the opening match 4-0. After that, Barbara Balazhova, who's been improving quite steadily after beating Tieyana of Hong Kong in this tournament, continuing to add names to the list. And then Mima Ito earlier today fell to Wang Manyu. And now joining me in the commentator's booth, sports director for German table tennis, Richard Prowse.
Hi, Adam. Good to be back again.
Good to have you here.
After this lesson from Chen Meng against Shan Xiaona. Shan Xiaona did a very good tournament by beating Zhu Yuling and also to beat Patika in quarterfinal, but Chen Meng was really well prepared, and at the end all my credit goes to Shan Xiaona, but Chen Meng deserved to win 4-0.
Yeah, outstanding play. I was quite impressed. I expected her to have more trouble with the flat hits in Shan Xiaona's game that beat Zhu Yuling.
Yeah, we were also speaking about it before, a little bit in preparation to switch the timing, but like Chen Meng was ready anytime to open the game directly through the forehand with its extremely strong backhand. Backhand, to my point of view, was really the decider. Also, the tactique was quite obvious to use very often long service, especially in the first game. That was really the opener. And, well, we have to accept that.
1-2.
Well, here we are in this match, and already Gu Yuting, who impressed us both, is coming in with power, but Wang Manyu pretty steady here to take this point, especially after that high ball comes up. Wow, that's the power. What appeared to be a chop block sits up just a little bit too high, and Gu Yuting, when she has time, definitely with that full stroke, has so much power.
And coming very good with the backhand above the table. It's nearly already a winner. Usually, you know, as a left hand, you have so much advantage in service return when you play against somebody who's not used to your service return. It might be a little bit easier for Wang as she knows the service and return game probably of Gu Yuting.
2-4.
Because we remember how much trouble Feng Tianwei had in receiving the service of her.
Of Gu Yuting.
Exactly.
Sometimes when you watch a lot of matches in a day, it's tough to remember who played whom.
2-5.
Yeah, and we remember how much trouble Feng Tianwei had, and after it was this powerful forehand or the powerful backhand was coming, and also Gu Yuting was able to cut the service of Feng Tianwei very, very short, very aggressive short. And you see now, Wang, how easy in comparison she can read the service of Gu Yuting. And that's something I also heard a lot when the Chinese play, for example, against Xu Xin. And usually Xu Xin, he's playing any other foreigners. He has so much advantage after his service. But against many Chinese, it's not that much of advantage left.
Right, it really changes the dynamic out there, the first 2 shots of the rally.
6-3.
A forehand out of a ball played right onto the body. For a shake hands player, it just shows you how much more she prefers that forehand stroke. Again, in the women's game, the backhand is quite prevalent, so this is very aggressive play.
I mean, for Wang, she feels for sure much better when everything is controlled through the backhand. And whenever she has time to swing the backhand, we saw that before also in our quarterfinal match. With Gu Yuting, I think whenever she's able to move with forehand, she also liked that.
And it was tough after coming up from the middle. Smart timing from Wang Manyu to see that she turns for the forehand. Gu Yuting just a little bit upright, creates an opening. That's the shot right there that leaves her open on the forehand side.
And for me, the main stroke was the one where she hit Gu Yuting a little bit in the middle there. The topspin was a bit easier and then followed up with this big backhand opener in the deep forehand side. It's so much about placement.
Right.
Played before against Ito, you remember how much trouble Ito had in receiving the service. And it's much easier, okay, as a left hand for Gu Yuting, just like follow the ball, flicking the ball.
$5-9.
I think the new, the banana flick is just so powerful because when you think about a right-handed player giving a pendulum serve to Gu Yuting, that seems like an easier serve to receive. But still in the banana flip, she's been very strong, even with that shovel serve in the inside-out spin. So 5 game points for Wang Manyu.
You know, usually I like this aggressive style of Gu Yuting as a left hand, maybe because I'm also left hand for myself. But looks like Wang was a little bit more the steady player, the controlled player, opening with a very strong backhand in both sides. That's probably also the reason at the end why Wang has now 4 set balls, game balls.
Game 11-6 for 1.
Forced into a defensive play from the middle. We've seen her go with many aggressive shots, but still, as you said, the control factor for Wang Manyu, she's just very comfortable sort of locking in Gu Yuting, not allowing her to get the big stroke.
Oh, this fast counter attacks. She was waiting for a fast ball in order to play a counter attack by herself. And Wang Manyu is able to really break this rhythm, to slow down the game. And at the end, with her own very, very strong backhand, she can really make Yuting move a lot. But the crucial thing is she has not the advantage Yuting as before against Feng Tianwei when Feng Tianwei had so much troubles in reading the service right.
Right, yeah, Gu Yuting, despite, this is what it's like knowing your practice partner.
Yeah, exactly.
We sometimes see some very strong players lose to people much lower in the world rankings because they practice in the same club.
Yeah.
So familiarity, I mean, even though you're playing a best-of-7 match, if you take the first 2 games to understand how to handle a serve, I mean, that might be too late.
Exactly. And that's why many foreigners, and especially also now for Dimitri, would have been interesting to play Fan Zedong one more time, because the timing and the speed is, of course, different to many other players. And to get used to this style, it's taking a long time, and you have to use every possibility in order to compete with these top players.
Wang Manyu. You have to wonder, the DJ is in the building, or?
I think he just left the building.
It's like, I love this song. I just have to let it play for a bit. I think I know what you mean now, by the way, about just left the building. Don't come back. It's always interesting to me to see style matchup, how someone so aggressive can be pretty much shut down by someone so well controlled and well placed.
Love to. Love 3.
You talked earlier, I know you used the word aggressive for those heavy spin pushes. But Gu Yuting's been really versatile. I mean, just so many different factors in her game, from speed, power, placement, and spin.
I mean, everybody of these Chinese girls, they're trying to have this aggressive short play. But Gu Yuting, I think it's probably the most aggressive when it's coming to this short shot. And if you have, like, it's a little bit this penhold style from before. I mean, I know Gu Yuting is not playing penhold style, but you remember Ma Lin, when he's playing short with so much heavy backspin and the opponent is trying to play one more time short, and then the arm was already above the table in order to attack. That was the classic style. And a little bit something like this, the modern style, modern shake and style is also using when it's playing short. It has to be aggressive so that the opponent is not able to play this ball one more time short.
We got to see another forehand flip there. One of our favorite shots, most difficult it seems right now. It's also so difficult to recover from.
That was an easy miss.
2-4.
She's not, for sure, not too happy with that.
From that point of view, seeing it over the table, you couldn't tell how high the ball was, but you could tell that it was still inside the table, right at the baseline.
Yeah, and you can also see that the ball was not moving forwards, but like stopping a little bit, like falling down, so she has to really move towards the ball.
2-4. Three, 4.
Shovel serve for
the rallies. And WANG Manyu is just like changing the service a little bit more, trying to get these small spins working.
outstanding rally from that chop block on the backhand side to get right back into the aggressive punch block game. WANG Manyu so steady.
And there was in one moment when Gu Yuting was having the chance after this backhand stop block to move her in the middle, and she didn't do. She attacked the backhand, and that was the chance for WANG Manyu to come back there.
4-5.
I talked about service errors earlier and how the greater the pressure is, the more you feel like you need an advantage on your serve, the more likely you are to try to do too much. We've seen some frustration here already on the side of Gu Yuting.
5 on.
You just see this clenching of the fist. She really wants to stay in the game.
This is that fire, that fight that Lu Goliang was talking about, that he wants to see from his players.
Very good.
6-5.
Very nicely set up this point.
And the style of play, it feels like WANG Manyu is more passive and calm, but in that point, especially with the vocal reaction after, I mean, you can see that they're both fired up.
A little bit more spinny with forehand and more accelerating with the backhand.
5-7.
That first shot took so much energy, she had to play a very safe, soft shot after. Watch how big this opening shot is. Still recovering, takes some pace off it and gets set up for another big forehand. But it was that little side spin, you're right, brushing from the middle with the backhand side of the racket. Wow, a little bit of side spin as well, playing it from in near the body.
And WANG Manyu was losing a little bit there, the control of the body you see on one leg.
And I think it was all credit to that shot right into the body. One more time to the backhand corner. Just like Koki Niwa did. When you think you've left open the table, play it right back behind the momentum. Give them something to think about.
This is really good because I believe for Gu Yuting it's not that easy to have this backhand banana flick working, and she's doing it in a really good way down the line. But Wang Manyu was waiting and just taking this spin to open the table as a left hand has really some problems in moving into the big forehand, deep forehand. So it's 8-6.
Outstanding rally, so many counters, and Wang Manyu manages to work her way back into the table after the explosive power of Gu Yuting early in this point.
See how good control with the backhand.
I thought Wang Manyu had this point, to be honest.
Because she was already on the way, moving closer to the table.
8-7. 8-all.
Now this is an important game. I know neither player has a coach in their corner, but we were talking about timeouts earlier. Wang Manyu seemed quite in control. With these two, it could go the distance. It could go to the 7th game, but a 2-0 lead could really bring some confidence, especially considering how rarely these two are on the world stage.
But if Wang Manyu is going for an early timeout, I think it's already gone now, the chance.
9-8.
Good service. This long service into the backhand just forced Wang Manyu to just open it with a little bit more spin, but the ball was jumping up high.
Nine all.
Let's see if Wang Manyu is able again to start with a spinny forehand topspin, a low forehand topspin, and then maybe gets the chance to accelerate after with her backhand. Or if Gu Yuting comes with a very heavy, short and aggressive return again.
Interestingly enough, a little deeper on the table, and maybe not as much rotation as Wang Manyu thought was on it as she lifts it up and out. Just when we thought we knew her game, flips the script, plot twist. So game point to Gu Yuting on the receive.
All.
This time, like the flip, and I believe if she should have flipped, then not straight into the backhand, because Wang Manyu is waiting there. The hand is always up, and with the backhand, she's not missing that much. Although she was missing this backhand banana flick, but usually with the backhand, she's there, very much stable, very much consistent.
That is a gift that was handed. Gu Yuting gets a ball that sits up a little bit high for an inside-out forehand or wherever she wants on the table. Tries to play the short side. It's surprised on that shot.
Yeah, like it's kind of a bad miss because at the not missing.
And this could have to do with nerves tightening up a little bit.
Definitely.
11 all.
Whenever I hear someone talk about wrist, I think about staying loose and staying relaxed and how important that is to get the wrist you need.
In the right moment, you have to be relaxed. In the right moment, you have to feel this extra tension that you can control your movement.
Yes.
That's the magic behind.
Lit. 11 all.
Wow, takes the heavy spin. We talked again about how low some of these top Chinese players can take the ball over the net, even when they're taking it from below the table. But the confidence to counter it back as well is just uncanny.
And I think she did that service really on purpose to move her a little bit out in the deep forehand and then waiting for this softer topspin in her backhand side, directly turning around. That's something Xu Xin also shows very often. Do this half-long service on purpose and go directly for the counter topspin from the backhand side.
12 all.
A bit tight. She's a bit nervous, I feel, because this was already the second chance there. She's winning 1-2 big rallies and then followed up by an easy mistake.
Well, just looking at the world rankings and when they've been on the world ranking list, it makes sense that Gu Yuting would feel a little bit more pressure, a bit tighter, a bit more nervous. She's been given less opportunities on the world tour. I mean, she's later in her career. She's older than Wang Manyu, so she knows she might not have another chance, not anytime soon.
12-13.
I mean, throughout the tournament, we've talked about the amount of pressure on the Chinese players here at this tournament to deliver.
Because we have only one more of the bigger tournaments to come. This is Korea Open in April. And then we'll be okay, Zagreb and Slovenia, if I have right in mind. But these are a little bit smaller tournaments.
Right,
so
those
the
are
big
all
tournaments, they are like Korea Open in April.
13 all.
Again, this is the second time. She's doing a really good ball to prepare her set to win this game. And then followed by a very easy mistake here. A little bit of bad miss there again.
Outstanding. Every single shot, you could hear the grunt, and she had to move the feet so fast to work to just get the waist able to turn and play a powerful shot, even a backhand loop in this rally. And Gu Yuting just fearlessly running around the court. She looks like Xu Xin out here.
Yep.
Really, I mean, if you had not told me for that overhead shot, that could have been a highlight, a replay of Xu Xin. So one more game point for Gu Yuting to tie it up.
Thirteen, 14. All.
Also, Wang Manyu is showing that she's still there.
Yeah, crossing the finish line.
Yeah.
You know, we see this on the World Tour. I've seen it many times where someone comes back, saves 4 game points, and then forgets about the next 2 points they have to make.
I wonder why Gu Yuting in this moment when she's receiving, she's not starting to risk a little bit more, going for the ball a little bit more. She feels to me a little bit hesitating when receiving.
15, 14.
And it's still Wang Manyu is sticking in this line. Like Gu Yuting is doing the big rallies, winning the bigger rallies, and Wang Manyu is just like finding her way always back in the game with small things, small points.
Yeah, I wonder if having her back against the rope here, back against the ropes, will change her choice in the receive game, like you brought up. And there she goes, the backhand loop over the table there.
Yeah.
Quite a high-scoring game, 30 points between the two of them so far. The game is still not decided. Both players taking quite some time before their serves. We've seen umpires that say, please play. That's a huge surprise. I mean, she had two big forehands, softens the ball up, goes for the big stroke again. This was hers for the taking. This is her point. And moving right back into the table, as we've suggested many times.
And that was, at the end, the wrong placement. She should have gone for the ball into the middle, not like fast through the backhand side.
Right, she's got her opponent close to the table. This is where positioning matters a lot, and she's already used her power. She doesn't need that much in that moment. Although you could understand the temptation having her opponent close. This time, better placement onto the body. The temptation there was to go cross-court out to the forehand side, the safe length of the table. But I think WANG Manyu would have had a better chance to win this point if Gu Yuting does play cross-court to the forehand.
And to be honest, WANG Manyu choose a poor service in this way. Just why not to keep the service simple and just like go for an easy ball, for spin the ball. This kick service against left-hander, it's not that easy.
Right, they've got the forehand waiting there.
17, 16.
Quality shots back. I mean, Gu Yuting, early on, she's made several big shots, but this is WANG Manyu's specialty. She gets the ball back into play. She uses her opponent's spin and speed well.
And especially whenever the opponent attacks only the backhand. Before it was like 1 or 2 rallies where she opened through the middle and forehand, and at the end she gets a chance. If opening through the backhand of WANG is always so consistent to bring this ball back. And at the end it's 17-16 for her again.
And it will not come down. Plays the middle on a few shots in this rally. She's really testing. We had a forehand shot deep to the backhand, a few in the middle. Gu Yuting working so hard for every shot. Look at the racket speed again. But if you could combine the skill sets of these two players, you'd have the world champion.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. But you see, at the end, Gu Yuting was winning the point through the forehand, not through the backhand.
But strangely enough, the little bit of side spin on this Chiquita here over the table mixes it up a bit, changes the bounce, and makes it a little uncomfortable for WANG Manyu. As steady as she's been blocking the high-speed forehands, this change of pace, again, the backhand, you get different spin. Much riskier shot from Gu Yuting. Now another game point. It's been so much back and forth and tug of war here.
Whoa, this was good. This first service was a little bit half long, so Gu Yuting started very well, but then this kind of a counter-attack. I remember a little bit like Li Xiaoxia before. She was doing it, like really accelerating with the backhand, and WANG Manyu is also going in that path, accelerating with the backhand on a little bit softer spin of Gu Yuting.
Enough points between the two of them to have won 3 games already. 36 points played, and we're still dead even. I thought that was a solid recovery on that hesitation, the over-the-table shot. I thought Gu Yuting would get another chance with her forehand to spin. She might have been a little bit anxious to finish the point after surviving that ball.
But again, WANG Manyu is going for the spinny one, not always for the fast one. That's one of the differences if you compare these two players. WANG Manyu is able to play also a little bit softer with the forehand on purpose.
A little bit safer, a little more consistent. And the big backhand, where did that come from? Just talking about the different repertoire and the skill set that these players have. 20 points to 18 for WANG Manyu. Outstanding use of a big backhand shot. Slightly softer, and there's that opening from a step behind the table.
And she was able, now she was changing the service, no upspin service, just straight service, and she deserved it with this strong backhand, this acceleration. You see how she's clenching the fist for WANG Manyu.
I was looking at the scores thinking, look at that, there we go. 11, it's like she won 10-6 in game 1, that's unheard of.
Yeah. And looks like they both want to come back to the good old times when we played till 21.
Yeah, definitely. For a minute, it looked like a blackjack table or something, or what, roulette with the numbers all around.
Time.
The fact that we've seen such a fight in game 2, was talking earlier about how this could go the distance, could be a 7-gamer. We've seen a lot of domination here today, a lot of quick matches with some strong Chinese opponents. And as the two of the 12, the marvelous 12 on the women's side, as they call it in China, battle. I mean, this is really, it's going to be a very close fight between the two. Very strong fight nonetheless.
The question is now what will happen in the minds of the player of WANG Manyu after 2018. Will she be a little bit like relieved or maybe lose a little bit tension, or maybe will she feel, okay, now I will really get it through? It's not that easy to really make up the mind after a close win like this.
Well, you have to imagine for WANG Manyu, she's looking at the bigger picture, and the big picture is it's 2-0. That fight was all worth it. She can remember it was a close fight, but this should be to her advantage, the fact that she pulled out that last game.
Yep. Might be, yeah.
So confidence, if nothing else. Physical exhaustion, I mean, they're both quite physically fit. You know, if I'm WANG Manyu, thinking about Gu Yuting, she's just got a more uphill battle. Now, some people, when they hit rock bottom, they just sort of, everything, I don't know, they're free. It's interesting to see how that goes.
Yeah.
Ball crack here discovered by Gu Yuting.
Yeah, it's
you don't have to see it at all those
cracked.
sounds. That's almost separated into two. That reminds me of Dima versus Fan Zhendong. The ball split into 2 pieces, right?
Yeah, and we had afterward a discussion because it was not 100% clear in the beginning what to do when the ball splits in 2 pieces. And meanwhile, it's 100% sure anytime the ball splits into 2 pieces, it's just the ball has to be repeated 100%. So even the ball is flying behind you, you have to repeat the ball.
Interesting. So it's treated differently based on the crack of the ball, is what you're telling me.
If it's in 2 pieces, then for sure the ball has to be repeated.
Is this in the writing?
This is in the writing, meanwhile, yeah.
Wow.
And difference is a little bit there. It still is a bit open. If you find out there's a crack in the ball and you show after to the umpire. And there it's still a bit open in which way it will be decided, but probably the best is if it's only a crack, then the ball is played. If it's broken in 2 pieces, then the ball has to be repeated. Main thing is for the players, they all have to know. Doesn't matter what kind of decision, but like it has to be clear to everybody.
And this is interesting to me. I mean, when's the last time you've seen the ball split into 2 pieces other than that?
Fan Zhendong, we had quite some time. This Fan Zhendong against Dimitri. I saw one time German Open, Bastian Steger, and against Park, this left-hand guy from Korea. So it happens from time to time. But you don't want this to happen in crucial moments, and in case you're not sure about the rules, and then it has to be a big discussion. That's not the right way. It has to be cleared. Doesn't matter in one or the other side, it has to be decided. And
that also is much better as far as the mental focus. You know, there's much less distraction if the players know, oh yeah, okay, that's by the book.
Yeah.
I wasn't cheated out of this point.
5-3.
That league match you were talking about with Park, do you remember what year that was? The ball crack?
In German Open Berlin last time.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
What year was that? Do you know?
I think last year or the year before. Last year or the year 2015. No, the year before, I believe.
Okay. So still Gu Yuting keeping it close, creeping within 1 point here of WANG Manyu. This was a smart, soft, spinny shot. The ball sits up a little bit, right? She could have gone for a kill.
Exactly. I like this style when she's not always rushing through the ball, but like having this placement. And you see Gu Yuting was expecting, literally going back, expecting this fast spin, and probably she would have taken a kind of a counter loop or something like that.
Even though it's not as obvious,
5,
it's almost
6.
like a subtle drop shot of sorts, really. It shows a lot of confidence from WANG Manyu to play that soft, spinny ball.
And at the end, you have so many players that are moving very, very good right and left, but not that many players who are moving good backwards and forwards.
Seven, 5.
Not the best time for a service mistake, actually.
Yeah, especially for Yuting. Second towel break of the game, and this is where it either becomes a match or it becomes a runaway for WANG Manyu.
Eight, 5.
I like this style of playing from WANG Manyu in this way. She's really changing the speed and the spin now. Was also before the forehand a little bit slower, now the backhand only lifting. And that's something Yuting still has to learn to react on this different spin variation.
5, 9.
As we said before, small things.
Right, I think about it, you know, you and I were talking about Ricardo Walter and his sense of the table and when to change and how he just has a sense of the court and what's called for at any given moment. And even across sports, this skill is something that just seems like genius that's so valuable in table tennis.
Yeah.
To really sense
6,
what is
9.
necessary and when, and the ability to play a shot that might seem otherwise nerve-wracking or too dangerous for another player. Oh,
Whoa,
clever
whoa.
decision.
10, 6.
And Yuting, favoring the forehand so much, pays for it as she tries to turn the corner early here. Again, it's that sense of what's likely to happen, knowing your opponent and what's called for here, that quick down-the-line decision. 4 game points. That's the only one needed. A 3-0 lead for WANG Manyu to step ahead, and 11-6.
So
What a response after game 2, 20-18.
It really looks like after winning the second, also WANG Manyu is lifted up for the third. She's really doing this change of placement, this change of spin, change of speed, steering very well with the backhand. So she's really controlling the game more and more. I'm not sure. Will Yuting have a chance to come back? For sure, she will keep on fighting. But looks like in these small things, when to change the spin, change the speed, WANG Manyu really knows what to do.
I think about the young talents in sports. This might sound like a funny side note, but I've recently been watching a lot of high school basketball, which is something I've never done before, but there's a player in the United States who's so flashy to watch, it's just incredible. And his sense of the court reminds me a lot of WANG Manyu. The way she's able to sense what's necessary and that she's just so comfortable and cool. She's not showing off, she's not being flashy in any way by rubbing it in her opponent's face, but just that she can do everything out here is what it seems like right now.
Go to serve,
This total overview of the court, especially of the opponent, the way the opponent is moving and to be able to react, that's something very, very special. Not many players have this. For example, Timo Boll has this, to have the feeling that he's concentrate and focus on the ball, but at the same time on the way the opponent is moving.
I felt like there's been a bit of that. Mima Ito showed that around 14 years old, that she has some element of that in her game for sure.
1-all.
Just players have started to realize, I think, how they can play her and sort of get her uncomfortable a little bit easier than they used to.
For Mima Ito, it will be crucial that she finds this balance between attacking the ball and sometimes just like playing the ball a little bit softer, a little bit spinnier. This balance has to be found.
And it feels similar for Yuting, that she's just not comfortable across the whole sliding scale. You know, that she is quite aggressive, and it's impressive, but she has to be able to mix it up a bit and get comfortable changing the pace, giving different shots, making her game less predictable. That's a strong answer, though.
Yeah, and if Yuting has the chance to come back in the game, then it has to be by making Wang Manyu moving a little bit more in the middle and the forehand side. This backhand is so safe. Actually, when I see the movement, only the movement, reminds me a very little bit on Oh Sang-eun, the way she's using the backhand with a strong wrist.
3-2.
It's funny you should say that. Oh Sang-eun coaching now as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's here at this tournament we got to see him, right? Coaching
exactly,
Jung Young
exactly.
Shik, Jong Woo Jin, and even Cho Sung Min.
I don't know if you heard about that. The last appearance as a player was to play doubles with his son at the Korea Closed.
Yes, I did hear about that. What a cool
2-4.
thing to do.
Yeah, and then he said, now my career is complete. Now I can retire and concentrate on coaching.
It is the circle of life. I actually just imagined a moment with Oh Sang-eun holding his son up at a mountaintop like in The Lion King. Himojaba, himojaba. The ceremony of the new Korean coach. He's been knighted.
3-4.
Look at this body language. This is quite rare to see from anyone on the Chinese national team. Such expression and frustration out there in this moment.
Yeah, she's not happy with the technique. To my point of view, in this, she had a little bit too close contact with the ball. She has to get back the wrist a little bit to swing a bit more. Actually, that also fits much better to the timing when she's playing the ball.
4-all.
An apology there for the top of the net. Wang Manyu ties it up. And the frustration continues for Gu Yuting. Yeah, but Wang Manyu is very smooth to come in, take the side of that ball, take it early in the soft touch. This is
4-5.
unfortunate for Gu Yuting, as hard as she's working. You know, we've talked about the versatility and that she's right now pretty much one mode, all attack. But with all that attack, to get that ball and not be able to put it away.
Because she's not finishing her footwork right. And one of the qualities of Wang Manyu, even she's passive, she's always giving a little bit of extra spin in the ball. So the ball is pretty long and kicking to yourself.
Right.
Lit.
It's like a little bit of extra credit and insurance on her shot, really.
So that's why Gu Yuting missed that shot.
5-all.
Interesting. That was, I thought she was outside the table.
I would also go in that direction. No, it was in. It was in. From this side, looked like it. Not so easy to judge sometimes.
Yeah, tough to tell. I'd love to see a replay from a different camera angle if we had it. Definitely more questionable than other shots in this tournament.
Five, 6.
These subtle motions. Again, Wang Manyu, even for a moment, had to step back just a little bit off balance for that one moment with the right foot behind. But she still seems really cool and well balanced for the most part.
6-all.
I mean, Gu Yuting is trying to make her play a little bit more forehand, Wang Manyu. But Wang Manyu just puts this ball. Also, I think it's not a big acceleration as we see sometimes from Gu Yuting, but it's so steady. And still, I think it's the right way to do, to move Wang Manyu a little bit more into the middle, into the forehand. Make her use the footwork. Good try though again. After this long service and turning around directly, she shows again a little bit this frustration, a little bit too late to use this ball. If you are late there, you have to make use of your wrist, this extra use.
7-all.
Getting closer to the end of this game. Wang Manyu service, and still I feel she's pretty calm, not missing easy balls. And Gu Yuting is a bit desperate. She needs this game in order to stay inside this whole match.
7-8.
One of the few backhand mistakes she's doing.
Right, I was just thinking, watching Gu Yuting's balance on that last shot, She would have been at a disadvantage in that point had the ball come down on the table. Oh, break off the top of the net. A little bit of fortune here. Sounded like 9-7 in the ears.
9-7, and it is 9-7.
There it is. Score just catching up on screen.
Ten, 7.
So 3 game points to continue the match. Yuting coming around the outside of that ball. This is a little bit more deceptive in the motion. Light topspin on it. Seemed that WANG Manyu didn't have as easy of a read. I'm gonna have some questions for you about serves between games.
Whoa.
And there it is, a fast exchange from both. So the first game for Yuting, despite having several opportunities in the second game, it's an 11-7 victory here in game 4. So my question for you, Richie, as far as, what was it? Man, I completely forgot the question.
No problem. Think about it. We'll come back to you.
I will. Tell a story real quickly. I'm going to think about it.
And just like from WANG Manyu, I see like the way Yuting is now a little bit back into the game is that she was trying to change this game altogether, make her move in the middle and the forehand side. That's the crucial thing, and I'm quite sure this we will be seeing also in game number 5.
I thought of the question.
Good.
In my downtime, I stepped into my office, and what it was you got 2 players that spend a lot of time practicing with each other and playing with each other, practice matches and everything else. How much is saved? Because this serve, you know, Yuting pulls out a serve that we haven't seen much of, that around the outside, sort of the fast shovel serve, if you will.
Yeah.
As a former professional who played on the national team and who's been coaching, what do you think as far as strategy for a player to save a serve that they don't use in practice matches, that they save as a surprise serve for their teammates? How much is this happening?
I think this happens actually from time to time, maybe not as a total surprise serve, but like as a service that you don't use that much in practice, or maybe you accelerate your wrist not that 100% as you are doing, especially when you know you might be playing against your teammate the next weeks. So this happens from time to time, especially, I mean, when 100 years ago, when I was playing from time to time, like it's also quite normal that if you have to rely on service and first ball, you don't want to show all the services. That's quite normal. So sometimes you just save a little bit of your wrist and a little bit of your timing in order for these important matches.
Right, in 1917, that was a big factor.
Something like this.
Soft touch. Again, WANG Manyu so comfortable to take it early. She doesn't feel like she plants her weight. She can get in and be so light on her feet for that short game and still be back and ready for the next shot.
Very good. And this time she had the right timing. And this is very, very good when she's turning around using this extra kick against WANG Manyu. Maybe we see here one more time, accelerating and now moving inside the ball. Also, the movement still was not 100% clean.
And not only was it not 100% clean, it wasn't 100% aggression. It was a little safer, a little spinnier. We've seen her hit the ball harder, but the placement was very smart.
And we shouldn't forget something like that everybody can use out there. In one moment, you give some extra rotation. The ball has a little bit more stability. When you hit the ball straight or like without rotation, the ball starts to move a little bit more. And that's why it's so important to always play a little bit rotation to keep it in a stable way of flying for the ball. Very, very crucial from all different levels of playing.
It's funny you say that. A lot of people aren't thinking about the stability of the ball. They're just thinking of the trajectory. But it's also very difficult to make a high percentage of the time hitting flat, so.
True.
There was that serve that we saw late at 9-7 in the last game. Deep, fast serve coming around the outside of the ball. You know, it's interesting without any other context to see them, but they both look so tall in their stature.
Five, 3.
It's about timeout, I believe.
Timeout.
So Yuting taking some moments here. Again, neither player has a coach in their corner. Still would love to know what changed when players have their own personal coaches so that they don't have their coach in the corner.
Yeah, well, I think we talked about this
Earlier today.
Earlier today, exactly. From 2005, I remember well. And if I have right in mind, I think Wang Chin had the coach and maybe Ma Lin. So it might have been even in the final 2000.
I was going to add, that's when they did the Around the World and Wang Chin stepped outside of the court, right? Was that final in 2005 against Ma Lin? Game 4?
Actually, I don't have it in mind. Either it was against Ma Lin or against Kong Linui. It's quite some years ago. I have to double check on that.
Sure.
Yeah. But that was actually the time in Shanghai when the Chinese also had coaches against each other. But really, like, it would be interesting to find out why they did in that time. Because some of the coaches, they are still here around.
Yeah.
They have been also coaching already in 2005 in Shanghai.
Let's ask Xiao Zhan.
Yeah.
See, we've got some legends of the game here from China.
5-3.
Well, we'll see how this timeout helped out Yuting here. Again, she just has herself and her experience. 22 years old. Seemed like she tried to calm herself down a little bit, play a little bit more steady near the table to start off this point. But there's been a real shift in energy. Wang Manyu has played a much more aggressive game 5 out here. It's almost role reversal. Wang Manyu grunting, taking bigger strokes from behind the table. She's definitely fired up. I feel like the game itself is a much quieter game from Wang Manyu. She's just smooth and steady, and it's Yuting with the thunderous shots. But right now, the showing, it's clear that Wang Manyu wants to take it and finish it now. She's well on her way, up 4 points, just 4 points away from securing a spot in the final. Wow, so efficient. Again, Yuting running all around to make these shots. She's working so hard, but it's a fine balance of working hard and working smart. The efficiency factor is definitely favoring Wang Manyu. Some heavy spin there on that serve, deep into the backhand side of the body. Interestingly enough, there was a strong follow-through, so there was a lot of clue to how much rotation was probably on that ball. Subtle contact, though, in near the body. Just missing long. If that ball comes down on the table, I'd expect one more little at the body, right into the body. It was that danger that we talked about, that she's going hard, but going clean into the backhand side. Wang Manyu is just so comfortable there. A little bit late to turn on that ball, doesn't get the racket up quick enough.
And Wang Manyu again, she changed the timing. It was not followed by a very fast topspin. It was 2 times just like a steady, spinny ball, you see here. And one more time, just like put the ball. A little bit higher bounce.
And I think this is also, because of the placement, something to tempt Yuting to turn a little bit later, make a late decision. Once again,
6-9.
just enough power. The ball comes down long in the defensive game of WANG Manyu. Wow, so close to the back edge.
Good again this time.
Deja vu, we saw it earlier in the match. Again, Yuting has a plan, but the serve isn't enough to guarantee that she's gonna get the ball she wants for this step around.
And she stepped around a bit too early.
Right. So now 4 match points for WANG Manyu to join Chunmeng in the final. She's gonna bring her loose, fluid, calm, cool, but still fiery hot performance back tomorrow to play Chunmeng in the women's singles final for a chance at only 18 years old to earn herself what is likely a ticket to the World Championships.
Yeah. I mean, the way she was playing here, very concentrated, very good in changing the spin and the speed with her forehand and accelerate with his backhand. We see here this match ball was really incredible and well deserved.
Well, here's the recap of scores. We had that 20-18 victory. And in the end, it was 4-1 for WANG Manyu, a dominant performance throughout. And what a day for women's table tennis. They're gonna have a little bit of time to rest before their matches tomorrow. There you can see what's happened in the women's singles so far here at the Qatar Open. Chunmeng and WANG Manyu, the only 2 left. The last 2 standing, and only one will survive to stand atop the podium. And we're going to get into the men's singles semifinals coming up in just a bit. First is Ma Long and Zhuang Zhiyuan of Chinese Taipei, and after that will be Fang Bo and Fan Zhendong. Stick around, you're watching the 2017 Seamaster Qatar Open.
Game 11-6. 4-1. 3-4. Game 2018 4-1. Game 11. Game 11-7 for Gu. Game and match for 1-4-1.